Pokemon with guns has been extremely successful, and I mean, hey, I can understand why. Apparently, one of the developer, team people were talking with news outlets, and they were asked, like, hey, why did you decide to do Pokemon with guns? And they said, well, people like like the monster catching, genre, but on top of that, they seemingly also, it's true that Americans like shooting stuff.
I'm obsessive compulsive. Yeehaw! 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeehaw! 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's just so factual that my head practically exploded upon hearing it. Essentially, between that and, the fact that the game has so much depth to it, whether it be ways for your pals to interact with the world and, you can use them for automation tactics and build factories, farms, and all sorts of stuff, or whether it be some of the cool base building aspects, or just the fact that there aren't any like monster catcher games, one, that are usually even that good in this genre, or two, that have any mature aspects like guns. Beyond that too, the fact that you can interact with your pals in very specific ways, like picking them up and using them as the guns, or flying on them, and all sorts of other stuff, is really, really dope. And so it's understandable why this game has been so successful already. And also, we do know actually now a little bit more about what is planned for this game in the near future. Now, we don't know, when near future is. The goal is probably to get it out as quickly as possible, but I'm sure some of these things are going to take much longer than other things. Now, the most pressing issues that I think it's pocketpair is the name of the developers. The main things that they're working on is bug fixes. Sometimes apparently the world date may roll back, and so that would be pretty annoying at times, I would imagine, as well as sometimes the loading screen may persist when trying to load into worlds, as well as other bugs. Like I know one issue that I had at the start and that some other people were having is a black screen that comes up. The thing that actually fixed it for me was just opening it and administrator. Some people said that if you change the settings of it to open up in non-full screen, then that's another workaround and fix. But so I'm sure they're working on things like that as well. However, we also have a little bit of an idea for the future roadmap of the game. Now, we already know that, like I said, it has various pals in there. I believe they're around 150, similar to the first generation amount of Pokemon. I'm sure that they'll probably add more pals as it goes on. One of the nice things about this type of game, and with this game in general, is, people aren't really downloading it for the graphics or anything like that, so people can sit there and, for the most part, continue playing this game for quite a while, and I could see them continually adding pals and adding updates, for various aspects of the game for a long time to come, and it has such a good basis that I could see them doing that for, several years before needing to put out any type of sequel. Now, generally, I think one of the issues people are going to have right now is some of the more rudimentary aspects of the gameplay. Like, for example, one thing that we noticed is like the building is not as detailed as I'd like it to be in some ways. I'd like to be able to maybe like build out platforms in certain areas that I'm not necessarily allowed to yet in certain ways. Now, part of that is maybe we haven't played quite enough to get to some of that, and so maybe we'll come across that in the future. But we've done a good bit of building, and there are just some things that we'd like to see added. Generally, though, obviously, it's pretty easy to, once you have that base system built out, it's easy to add in new pieces for various things when it comes to building, whether it be new designs or new materials, various things you can add into the world over time. And they are planning on doing just that, adding, various new aspects to building. On top of that, they're going to, as mentioned, probably be adding pals in the future. But one of the earlier things that they're hoping to, work on is PvP, and particularly building a pal arena. Now, this would be really, really cool. And basically, it kind of functions in a similar way to a Pokemon tournament, where you would be able to go in and, challenge other players and their pals to combat combat, and then you can, you know, battle it out in the long run. Now, whether this would be a turn-based type combat and whether they would implement like those types of moves for your Pokemon, or for your pals rather, or whether it would be like you go into the tournament and you pick up your pal and you start blasting, I have no idea. Either way though, that sounds really fun, so I'm pretty excited for that. On top of that, one of the main things too that they're looking at right now is Steam and Xbox crossplay. One of the issues that we've had, for example, right now is Xbox does not have the dedicated server option, and that includes for if you're using Xbox Game Pass on PC. And so essentially, you know, that's one thing that we would be very much open to, is paying pocketpair for like, you know, 20 bucks for a server or something like that. However, because we don't have that ability on Xbox, and because you don't have like any crossplay with Steam servers, you're not able to do anything like that. Now, you know, whether that is something that they can fix soon or will take a long time is yet to be seen. You know, the developer has made statements surrounding facts that like the Xbox has certain certification systems that apparently have been taking a while to get around or get through, and so obviously that can be a little difficult. But generally speaking, that is something I'm excited about. They are hoping to also just kind of bring Xbox more in line with the various features that are available on, you know, Steam and whatnot. On top of that, they're hoping to be able to bring in world transfers, server, and then server migrations, as well as new islands and technologies, and also raid bosses. So they do have already bosses, you know, I think at the various towers. However, you know, apparently they're looking to add, you know, future potential seasonal content where you'll have various in-game bosses that you might be able to interact with or take on, and I'd imagine they would update those over time. So that's really cool. If they like turn this into like a full-fledged MMORPG, that would be really sick, especially because people can engage with it on their own servers, and it also lends itself quite well to like role-playing aspects and stuff like that. And so you know, there's a lot of exciting prospects that I think are definitely here and present for this game, and especially again something like the PAL Arena. I am definitely hoping we get to see that in the near future. I would love to take on the various different you know, PAL masters or whatever the hell they call them. You know, generally the I feel like that is one thing that I didn't even necessarily consider when I was looking at Palworlds, just because when I do think of like Pokemon battling, for example, I do think of that standard more turn-based content, and so I wouldn't necessarily know how they would have put it into an arena like that, but I'm sure again they do seem to have the plans for it, and whether that be them adding turn-based aspects or just again picking up your Pokemon and blasting, I am still happy to see it either way. So what do you guys think? Have you been playing Palworld? Palworlds, is it World? I don't remember. Palworld, I think. And then do you enjoy it so far? You know, what would you like to see added to it? Are there any specific like building pieces or pals that you'd like to see added, pal types or anything like that? Let us know in the comments down below. Besides that, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That'll pop up during the outro, and the rest of our links are down in the description too. Gaming sessions for gaming content, Smokin sessions for movie news and reviews. And besides that, guys, I will see you all in the next one.
I spaced out of my head to the depths of the universe. It's a spell or a chance just to open up a newer curse. If I swim too far, then my head goes under. If we take it as it is, then there ain't no wonder. It's hard to imagine that just one little blunder it creates